Today, I will demonstrate the advanced feature of my project called multi-container drag-and-drop tier list system using View Draggable Plus. To have a brief overview, this feature uses shared drag groups to allow drag-and-drop state transitions between an unranked pool and dynamic tier rows. The system operates through an event-driven architecture that coordinates views, trees, reactive state management with drag-and-drop UI components, and asynchronous controller operations. For the reasons why I chose View Draggable, there are 5 reasons. First, about integration. Normal approaches without the library requires us to manually track mouse coordinates, calculate DOM bounding boxes, and calculate which array index the cursor is over. But with View Draggable Plus, we simplify row items. When an item drops, the library automatically mutates the relative view array in memory. View handles the DOM rendering cleanly without UI bugs. Secondly, about handling multiple containers. With normal approaches, moving an item between 6 separate row targets requires writing complex spatial tracking to figure out which row container the mouse is hovering over while preventing dropping onto invalid targets. But if we use View Draggable, we group containers into a group. The library manages boundaries, drop targets, and cross-array transfers automatically behind the scenes. Third, about supporting mobile platforms. Normal approaches use native HTML5 drag-and-drop API like start, drag over, or drop, which does not work on mobile phones or tablets. To support touch screen devices, we would have to write custom touch event handlers like touch start, touch move, touch end. If we use View Draggable Plus, it uses Sortable.js under the hood, which seamlessly handles pointer and touch events. The tier list works on mobile browsers instantly without writing extra code. Fourth, about built-in smooth animations with normal approaches. When you drag an item between 2 class, making the other class smoothly slide out the way requires manually implementing the flip animation pattern, including first, last, invert, and play, using CSS, transform, and layout calculations. With View Draggable Plus, we simply set animation equals to 150. Like that, it handles all track transitions dynamically at around 60 frames per second. And finally, about cross-browser consistency. Normal approaches use native HTML5 drag-and-drop, which behaves consistently across browsers like Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. But when using View Draggable Plus, it uses Sortable.js, which normalizes graph behavior so it looks identically across all browsers and operating systems. So let's move on to the live coding session. So about the advanced feature, we'll talk more detail about this advanced feature about the View Draggable Plus integrated in the tier list page. So in this tier list page, we will create a new tier list. Let's name it S6. So in this tier list, you will see there are 5 row tiers and enemy pool. So for each of these tier row will be a View Draggable component as A, B, C, and D, and this enemy pool, often called the conveyor belt, is also a view-draggable component, and we can drag an item from the pool to the tier list like this, and we can move the item between rows, and we can also swap the order of the items inside a row, like what I'm doing. So that's all what this page do, and let's have a look at the code. So in this ticket view, we can see there are two view draggable components, this one and this one. So first about the tier list, I'm using a for loop to display the tier rows. Then for every tier rows, it will correspond to a view draggable component. This one, as you can see the page. This one is a component, a component, and this one, 5 view draggable component with this tier list. And this anime pool is another view component. You will see here the view draggable component for the anime pool. And let's talk about the parts of a view draggable component. So first, for the tiers, we have the models rolled out items. So it will take the items of each rows. It's I won't talk very much about this part because it's related to the backend. To briefly it is taking the data from the tier list controller, and this tier controller takes the data from the tier list model. It will run some queries to take the data from the backend, or more specifically, it will take the data from the database in the tier items table. So you can see here are the items inside a tier list. The set is on ID, and every time I switch or swap the place of an item, it will delete and insert rows in this database. And let's come back to the view. So that's the view model, the E model. And next we have the group. This group attribute is quite important because you can see here both draggable components have the same group, the anime pool group. So the reason why they are in the same group is that they must be in the same group if we want to move the item from one group, from one component to another component, like this. And let me try to rename this group. This name it like here, and this one will be anime pool. Then now you cannot move the item from the pool to the tier list, or reversely, moving from the tier list to the pool. See, that's how this attribute works. Let's have a look at the listings one. This related to the backend, related to the database. So its function is to send the data to the backend, and the backend runs the query to change the data in the database. So also, let's take an example. Let me refresh the page first and refresh this table. So let's try to move this one from tier A to tier S, this item. and refresh the database. Look closely at the ID of each row. You will see the ID of every row change, the final row change. And when I move back, it changes. This means the data on the website successfully updated. And now I will try to remove this line and move an item from one row to another row. This, and check the database, nothing changed. Even when I move a lot, performing a lot of movements, nothing changed. Then I will refresh the page. Everything doesn't change anything. Nothing changed. That's why we need this since one. So this is in the script. Since it will call the tier list controller, and this tier list controller will call the tier list model. Here it's called tier list model, and tier list model will run two queries onto the backend. So first one is delete, and second one is insert. For example, when I move an item from component 1 to component 2, it will first delete the item from the first component 1, and then insert the item into component 2. That's the functionality of this set process. So that's beyond the backend. Just easily to understand briefly that this is what is to update later. That's all information about the advanced feature of my website belonging to the tier list.